why does the Bible include also some very negative episodes, some individuals that really brought about destruction, had not the right influence on others? Remember, the song, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. This is what we should say. But apparently, the Bible is trying to teach us that from these episodes you can learn also. It is not a question of the Bible being a complete narrative of everything that happened in the history of humankind, because the Bible is not a book of history. The Bible is a book of instructions, of inspirations, of moral principles that teaches you what is ethical behavior in this world. There was a guy by the name of Korach. He was of the same family as Moses and Aaron, and yet he wanted part of the leadership. He said, why should they be selected? Why not me? He was envious. So, to be envious is bad? Maybe not always. Our rabbis say, Kinat sofrim tarbe chokhmah. The envy between the intellectuals produces more knowledge. They try to overcome one the other, to run faster. In other words, a certain amount of envy maybe is not so bad. The problem is when envy becomes all-powerful and takes a hold of our entire personality. Is fear a negative sentiment? Well, one could say so, but on the other hand, fear is the reaction, puts your entire body in alert when there is some kind of danger. But when fear overcomes you and you can no longer act, that is no good either. You have to somehow learn how to dominate this feeling of fear. It's good in a small doses, but when it becomes the rule of your life, then you don't do anything. So what I'm trying to say is that some negative impulses that you have are not that bad in reality. The Torah is teaching us about the first murder that occurred, the disobedience of Adam. He ate of the fruit of the forbidden tree. Well, all these things are telling us that man has certain inclinations, certain desires, and it teaches us that we have to put a stop to them. In other words, we have to become more powerful, but we have to be conscious of their existence. So the big question is, why did God create us with envy, with fear, with all these things? Maybe we shouldn't have these sentiments, these feelings at all. But apparently these are impulses, these are forces that if they are channeled in the right direction, they can really make you a better human being. They can really produce advancement. Like our rabbis say, when there is envy between the intellectuals, knowledge will be incremented. In other words, a certain amount of fear is really positive. A certain amount of envy may be positive as well. A certain amount of other sentiments that I want to have somebody else's house, but limited, maybe will make you work a little harder to produce something better for yourself and for your family. If you see somebody else's child is advancing in school and you say to yourself, why isn't mine? Maybe that is also some kind of impulse so that you should dedicate more time to your own child so he should advance more. What I'm trying to say is that the negative teachings are only our interpretation of them. It could be that many of these negative episodes really serve to give you an impulse, to give you inspiration, to show you a direction in which you shouldn't go, and on the other hand, utilize the energy of these sentiments toward growth, toward a better society.